welcome to Anime Analyst. I am your host, Thomas Fry.
And I'm host Hasnan Zaidi.
And don't worry, he's just had a really long weekend. We'll catch up here in a minute. All right. Tonight, as some of you saw, because I turned it on to start talking about it and then forgot to turn it back off. Yeah, we're organized. We are talking about the strongest magician in the Demon Lord's army was a human. And wow, in the anime world, demons do not get along with humans. So it's funny that the demons didn't catch on that they were being led by a human, and a smart one at that. I mean, we're talking IQ of 170. This cat has all the trademarks of an expert. This was a 12-episode year, and it's part of summer 2024. The studio is Studio A-Cat. It was brought together. Its source material was a manga. And we know how we had those discussions on it. Did it come from a short story? Did it come from a manga? Did it come from, where the story came from usually can indicate if you're going to get something quality or not. And we were pleasantly surprised with this one. So its genre is an action adventure fantasy, and it's an isekai and a reincarnation. PG-13. It carries a score of 6.42, and it is ranked at 7,300. But its popularity is around 2,100. And you would think with those numbers that, it's like, oh, what am I in for in this anime? Is it worth watching? Well, heck yeah, and that's what we're around to let you know when the numbers do not reflect what the anime is about. And the anime is, at least I thought it was really good. So before we start getting into specifics, Hassan, what's your overall impression of this anime?
I think more people should watch it and they will find out like what they are missing. Like when you told me the rating on that thing and popularity, I think it is not fair with this anime.
Yeah.
Like from this episode one, like they have good animation, they have good story, and the thing you said, like I really like about that the characters, like he is like a smart one, like how he strategizes in the battle and how they show he care about the people and how he is hiding his human form from the demons, like he's leading the army of the demon by disguising as a demon when he's a
Yeah.
human. and
I
and he
mean,
has yes, and he like his he has a aim like set, like this story is like they have a complete plot, like everything they tell in the story, and like he's doing that, like he want to make demons and humans live together, and he really did that very well. Like everybody was surprised when he just built the defenses of the city by making them work shifts and by working together,
well,
like he
and
used the
he introduced paychecks too, which was surprising. He introduced paychecks. He introduced the shifts. He introduced the workers management of office work that. And mostly on an isekai, you get to bring whatever knowledge you have is the knowledge that you get to bring with you, and you can either make it amazing where you go, or you can, as someone says, you can sit there and whine about it, or you can get off your ass and do something about it. This cat definitely got off his ass and did something about it. It is, I agree with you. The numbers on this anime is very misleading. They do, it leaves you at the end of this, I don't know about you, but it left me I want to see a season 2. I do. I want to know what happens past, because at the end of this, they're still in a fight for their life. and you don't know whether or not, because that was just one section of the human army that he was fighting. Um, and the green screen pops back up right in front of you. I'm sitting there talking, all of a sudden a picture of a green screen pops up. Skype is not working right today. It has been doing that. All the pictures and stuff that we were talking about before the show now are popping up right in the middle of the show. So we apologize for that. But that's the green screen. The one that popped up is the one that's on the way. So you won't have to look at this ugly background for too much longer. We'll get our green screens in place, and then we'll get you a really nice background to look at, and it'll appear magically like we're in the same room. Although we won't be able to hand pieces of paper back and forth, but we'll figure out how to get the special effects so I can hand them a piece of paper just to blow your mind as you're watching us. All right, so let's get back to what we're talking about. Now, Ike was rescued by a demon and raised by a demon. And the demon, as far as I gathered, the demon didn't even beat. He was a demon, but he wasn't very demony. He raised Ike up, and now you got this adult that he still acts human, but he's like not prejudiced against anybody. He wants everybody to get along, and it's not one of them stupid ass, well, I want everyone to smile. No one in the world, everyone in the world can't smile at one time. It's not even possible. So why would you even, that's just some fantasy, you have no idea what they're doing, but I want everyone in the world to smile. That just ain't gonna work. But this cat gets in there, he takes over, he brings guns to the world. I don't know if that was the smartest thing because, humans are very inventive at creating. I mean, just look what the U.S. did in World War II. I mean, we went from having zero industry to being the #1 supplier of the entire Allied force. It was amazing what was done back in the 50s, 40s and 50s in this country. But anyway, back to the anime. Why don't you start where you want and take off, because I know you like this anime from our conversation earlier, so I'll let you take the lead on this one.
Okay, so before we do, like, I have questions. Like, do you think like this anime has a lower rating because it's not in the English dubbing like right now? Like
Yes,
most of the people.
absolutely. And I was just looking, and the other reason is it only has 31,000 fans in there. Um, it it didn't have, and honestly, I think it boils down to money. I don't think they push the SEO on this as hard as, say, reincarnated as a slime. They got millions of dollars pushing SEO, so of course they're going to have a huge fan base and have high numbers. But an anime like this, it was done by a small studio. ACAT did this, and it was done from a manga. So you're going to get a lot of people right off the bat going, oh, well, it's just a manga. They have to fill in a lot of the parts that are missing in a manga, because a manga is a page you turn and you may have a bubble of text on this and a bubble of what this guy, but it's really hard to get the meaning behind. So a lot of people disregard a manga, and you hear me talk all the time. We are more likely to get a better anime from a short story or something along that lines than a manga. But this one, they did a phenomenal job with this one. Um,
I had a conversation with one of my buddies. Maybe it is not like good for me to say, but I'm going to tell it anyway. Like we were talking about, like there are some fans like which read the manga and they go watch the anime, which is like the exact same thing. Like the studios, they don't change the story from the manga. But I asked him, like, I think like I will be confused like if I start reading the manga, Like I will not understand which dialogue will come first because they are in bubbles, like, and there is no
Well,
numbering.
you
Like
got
how
to
do you make
remember,
it?
a Japanese manga reads backwards. So, well, backwards to us. We're used to reading left to right. Most mangas are read from right to left. So, even though you're flipping the page normally, they're still, because of the way its original production was is written from left to right. So when they drop these mangas and they dub them, and they don't change the order of the pages. They Let me rephrase that. They change the order of the pages from left to right, but they do not change what is printed on each page. So when you flip the page, you have to read from your right hand to your left hand, but you're still flipping the page with your right hand. So that gets really confusing really fast, and I could see how a lot of people would give up on that. You know, when these things are printed, they're usually done in a PDF form when they're gone from the studio to the printers, and then the printer sees it vertical, so they don't look at what direction you're doing the book from. They are still put together, but if it's for the Western world, it's done left to right, and if it's for the Eastern world, where it's normally written, it's from right to left. And I'm sure I've confused a few people out there, and I'm sorry for confusing you, but it is a little confusing. It's part of the reason why we don't review manga, because I get frustrated reading it and I struggle. And then I hope the only time I'll go to a manga is if it's a quality anime like this that I want to know what happens next. Then I'll go deal with it and I'll order the manga just so I can see what comes next, because where they leave you at this one, it's it's to me it's unfair, but there's no way they can shove any more content in what we've seen. I think it's that quality of a manga, but I still want to know what happens with the war, and you know what's Ike gonna think of next. I mean, he just got control of the entire 8th division from the Demon Lord, and then it's over. So I'm a little, they did a really good job. It's correct in the video business or in the movie world, whatever. You want to leave your watcher, listener, you want to leave them with the feeling of they want more, that they want to know what happens next. You know, if you leave them, you can't ever come back with the season 2 if you go, well, and nice to see you, thanks for watching, and I've seen a bunch of those, and you know there's no more story to be had. But there is more story to be had, and I haven't seen it yet, but I did order the manga, so I'll send it to you as soon as I'm done reading it, and you'll see what I mean. It's a page turner, but still have to read it the opposite direction of what your brain would normally think of which way to read it. We ended up talking a lot about everything else but this anime, so we might just have to visit it again. Let's see if they do a dub for it, and that will increase its overall
Yes.
perspective immensely if they do an English language dub of this, or at least a Spanish. They only have I don't even know what languages they are, because to me they're drawings of pictures and I don't understand them. Do you?
Yeah, I checked that. I think these are the languages that Indian use,
Okay.
and India and Pakistan, like, language is same in speaking and listening, but in writing it is same. Like we are living like how much apart? Like you cannot make sure
Right.
like we speak same thing, but we will write it that way.
Well, the
The
only
I think the
reason.
Indian people write from left to right like English, but we as Pakistani we use Urdu, we write from right to left.
Oh, so you
But if
write the
like,
same way the Japanese do, from right to left, because I've always
yeah,
done
right.
left to right. My pages flip um, left to right when you're going to the next one. Actually, you're grabbing the page over to the right and moving it to the left, and you're opposite, right? When you go through a book,
Yes.
you basically start at the back of the book and read to the front, because that's the only way I get it. I'm sorry. I speak a little Spanish, and I speak English, and I speak hillbilly. But those are the only three languages I know. I grew up in northern Ohio, so there's another language up in that whole northeastern corridor of the United States, and believe me, if you didn't grow up there, you're not going to understand it. So let's bring this up. Oh, this is the wrong. That was the slideshow. Here's the ad. Don't forget, on September 27th, we are going to sit and have a whole show about how you watch these animes, where you can watch them, how you can watch them free if you can't afford to get Crunchyroll or High Dive. Or, we have places you can go to where you can catch them. There's always shortcomings with those. They usually cut. You can't see the intros or the outros, so you do miss a little bit. But hey, if you're not paying for it, you get what you pay for. But we make sure we watch the whole thing for you, so that way we got you covered here at Anime Analyst. That's why we're not just anime reviewers, we are anime analyzers. So we look deeply into each anime as we review it for you. So we have really gone long today. Is there anything else you want to say about this before we say goodbye to everyone?
No, I would just like tell everybody to watch this anime and then figure it out. Like, you don't just have to get the ratings and popularity and decide. Just watch the first episode and you will see like you're missing a really good anime.
Well, if they're just watching the first one, they're missing it yet. Just watch. Once you get a couple episodes into this, you're hooked. We'll see you at the end
Yeah,
of
that is fact.
episode 12.
But like I told you, like this is the only one anime that I watched first episode two times. Like I
And
watched it
dude,
and
you
I
you
then
don't
watched
know
it
how
again.
that makes me happy. It really does, because I've seen it probably twice, but it's not dubbed, so I lose some of that meaning
Hmm.
because I can't read as fast. So a lot of times I'll miss some of the words, and it's already on to the next scene. And sometimes I have to go back and watch it again. Um, but you know what? We're already long on time. We got everyone here. We don't want to keep you too much longer, but we do want, this is important. We are also going to be reviewing some of the older animes, um, especially the older ones that were number one in their time period and are still holding up there on the charts, even though they've been done airing, some of them for 3-4 years. And we are going to have another High Dive week, and we are going to, in the future, we are going to talk a lot more about stats, the effects studios have. Like tonight, we got into the effects of what creates a higher number, a lower number. And it's still in general, because you can't tell perfectly on everyone. There is no governing body over anime. So we're trying to give you a an interpretation not only of the anime but of the information behind it, so you get a deeper meaning out of when you're watching animes. I don't think this world takes anime seriously enough. I don't even have a TV, people. I got rid of my TV. I watch anime and I work and I prep for this show, and that's about it. I don't have much more time than that anymore, because it takes a lot of my time. We will be on X, we will be on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube PK. We will be broadcasting to 10 or 15 places every day when we do our show and make it a lot easier for people to come on and watch it. We may even extend the show. But as we keep telling everyone, when we start a show, we're not going to know exactly if we're going to be cut off at 10 minutes. Sometimes we'll go to 20. You know, our average, I think, is 12 minutes and 14 seconds when I calculated it out. So we can't stick to our 10-minute time crunch anyway. But for the most part, we want to give you a quick overview of what you're watching. So when stuff like this comes up and it's not highly rated, but it's a good anime that we think you should give the time to watch it and check it out, we'll let you know when we find them like that, because a lot of people work, they got families, you ain't got time to do all that research. Well, that's what you got me and Hussein here for, so we will see you tomorrow. We got a really good one for you tomorrow. It's In Another World with my smartphone, so the young generation should get this one. I don't know about you, but let me ask you this over. Do you see like really young kids already having smartphones? I mean, over here, 3-4-year-olds, they're working that smartphone like it ain't nobody's business. I'm like, man, that's faster than I can do it. It's amazing. Everyone
Yeah,
has a smartphone.
it's same like here, and like I didn't like realize, but sometime I feel like there are some things that I'm not able to do on my mobile phone, so I have to get help from my like my younger brother or my friends. So
Been there, done that. If you're not sure how to work something, hey, my mother does it to me. I do it to my kids. It's a generational thing. It goes all the way down. My daughter will call me sometimes, but she'll ask her kid to show her something and then pass it on up the line so we can do it. And I was working on my master's degree, so in computer and digital forensics. So if that'll tell you something, and you have to ask a kid about smartphone. All right, we've gone double our time, so we will see you tomorrow night. So you guys have a good evening, and I guess we need a new ending thing, like stay frosty or enjoy your anime or something. We got to come up with a term. So if y'all can think of something, we need a one-liner that we can use at the end of our show to end the show. So that
like
it just make
keep
it
watching the
easier.
anime.
What?
Like we can say keep watching the anime.
Keep watching anime. That's a good one. We'll come up with it. We'll work on it. We'll let you know what we come up with. As far as that goes, this is the Anime Analyst. Once again, I'm your host, Thomas Fry.
And I'm